Welcome to the first episode of Did You See That? Today we'll be speaking about the Ultimatum Season 3. Mess. So much mess. But we love ourselves a good, trashy reality show. And we thought to start this, we're going to start by reviewing a nice, trashy reality show. Okay?
100%.
Maybe let's tell you first what the Ultimatum is about.
Yeah. So the Ultimatum is a reality show where one person in a couple issues an ultimatum to their partner because they are ready for marriage, and it's usually that the other partner is not ready.
Imagine this. The title is like The Ultimatum, marry me or move on.
Yes.
Very extra.
So that's essentially it. And so when they go on the show, they meet other couples, and they need to then go on a trial marriage
For 3 weeks.
For 3 weeks, where they swap
Partners.
and they spend the first 3 weeks of this experiment with a new person, and you essentially have to forget your former partner. They are now your ex.
Yeah.
And you have a new husband or wife.
Imagine.
Or partner. And after 3 weeks, you then swap back with your original partner who you came to the show with, and you then have another trial marriage just as after mess.
So that's basically it.
And then the final step is basically now needing to decide, where the person who was brought on the show now has to make a decision if they are
gonna marry you
and propose or not, really.
Yeah, so they ultimately have 3 options. They can either leave with the person that they came with, or they can leave with the new person that they essentially spent 3 weeks with, or they can leave by themselves. So that is the format of the show. Okay, so in this particular season, I think there were initially 6 couples.
Yes.
2 couples ran away. They were like, this is too much, we're out. Actually, baby, I'm sorry, I love you, like, let's go. So first is JR and Zaina. JR is this guy. He looks like a gym jock guy. Jury's still out on whether he's hot. I think he's a pretty good looking guy.
I think he's conventionally attractive.
Yeah, I think so too. So. If you don't think JR is attractive, you're lying. So there's JR and Zaina. Zaina, gorgeous girl, very sweet girl. I genuinely think she's one of those chicks who love him a lot more than he loves her. Is the sense that I've gotten so far.
Yeah. I also JR is just a sketchy character because his condition was to come on the show, granted that there were no boundaries. So that kind of tells me that why would you want to go on a show and have no boundaries?
But I feel like the Ultimatum is a show with no boundaries as a concept generally, because he keeps saying that when they came onto the show, they agreed that they don't have any rules. So when it's time to switch over and you're dating other people, they said that we've broken up, because essentially you have to break up so that you can now go to the next person. And they said that there's no rules when we have broken up.
I mean, I kind of hear it, but I do feel like him saying to her, I think there's a scene where they were driving on the way there, and he was like, I told you that I would only come onto the show with no boundaries at all. Just kind of feels like he wanted a license to cheat.
I mean, here's my thing. If you're going to invite me to a show where you're giving me an ultimatum on national TV, and in 6 weeks' time I need to have made up my mind about whether I want to marry you or not,
you don't need to kiss other people.
I don't think that there should be rules. Genuinely.
Ha, Chomi.
No, friend. Because also, we've broken up. We can't say we've broken up and then technically we haven't broken up. You need to be able to give the other connection that you have a proper chance to see if that's a person that you want to go with or not. That's why you don't go test your relationships on these shows. Just don't do it.
I'm sorry, I just...
But JR and Zaina, you've got the vibe. JR is a jock guy, very handsome. Zaina's also gorgeous girl who's really into JR, right? So essentially what happens is JR gets matched with Sandy, blonde. No, not blonde. Brunette. Is that the color? Brown. It's
Yeah, brunette, yeah.
Brunette chick. Also conventionally like hot or whatever. They get together. There's a scene where JR's like, oh, I ain't never been with a white girl, and that's when I knew. Anyway,
he fetishized.
Yeah, he definitely.
Because the other lady was Hispanic, and he said,
Yeah,
I want to try some of that.
Yeah.
I was like,
and he's like, I've always dated mixed race girls, so you know, I think for
told
this,
us everything
I'm gonna go for
we needed to know.
100%.
Yeah.
So JR gets mixed with Sandy. That's her name.
Yes, it is Sandy.
Yeah, Sandy. And then Zaina goes for this other guy, Scotty. Now, Scotty is in a relationship with Ari, right? So let's tell you about Scotty and Ari. So Scotty is, initially, he's this guy who's very suave, you know, he seems in touch with himself. Well... he seems really cool. He's holding space and everything. So Scotty gets then connected with Zaina, who is JR's chick, and then Ari gets connected with Caleb, this other guy. So Scotty is initially that guy, and then as we progress into the season, we see that actually he's got a little bit of like, as we all do, he's got like toxic traits that like manifest quite terribly on national TV. So then that's Scotty, and then Ari. Scotty's the one that issued the ultimatum to Ari. They're in a long distance relationship. Ari is a chick who's like, I still want to progress in my career. I'm not necessarily ready for marriage. So that's the vibe with Scotty and Ari. And then there's Caleb and
Mariah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about Caleb and Mariah?
So Mariah is 24, 25, and Caleb is probably 30. I think he's about 6 years older than her. She issued the ultimatum, and she's basically kind of decided that, you know, this is a person I want to commit to. And Caleb has some concerns around that, and I think probably one of the more decent guys on the show.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart.
He's more concerned because she's obviously young. She's like 24. What were we doing at 24?
Madam, she's ready for marriage.
Yeah, so he's concerned that, you know, you basically have the rest of your life for us to spend a lifetime together, but now you want us to get married at 24. How can you be so certain, so young, that I'm the person for you? So Caleb gets matched with Ari. Well, he chooses Ari. They choose each other. Ari is Scotty's original partner. And Mariah initially got matched with Dave, who decided to skedaddle.
Yeah, he left the show. He was like, baby, I'm sorry. I don't want to do this anymore. Let's go.
So now the conundrum is... Mariah is now left with no partner on the ultimatum. It kind of defeats the purpose. And she now has to witness her partner essentially
live his best life,
forming another connection with someone else while she has no one else to form a connection with.
Yeah, and that happens to another guy as well. His name is Nick. So Nick initially comes onto the show with Sandy, the chick who now JR is with. And he's originally into this chick. I forgot her name. He's really into her. They seem to hit it off. One day in the middle of the night, this girl just packed the bags and she was out. She skedaddled. And
they actually had good chemistry.
They had great chemistry.
Stunning chemistry.
Yeah. So she eventually left with her man. They were like, fuck this. I was like, should I swear? And then they left. So now Nick and Mariah are the only ones that are left without partners. Nick is losing his mind because his hand is now with this jock guy JR. His hand is opening up in ways that she doesn't usually open up with him.
And Nick did say that, like, out of all of the guys, the person he was most threatened by to form to be chosen by his partner is JR.
Yeah. So that's the crux of the ultimatum.
So the first couple we're going to review is JR and Sandy. These two were well paired for each other and definitely 100%. Not for good reasons.
100%.
And definitely not for good reasons. I just feel like they were both here to get away from their partners.
I think so. I think they were just here to babs. And another word for babs is like to just taste each other.
Jump each other's bones. Yes,
I think the word. And you know why I say that? Because every episode they kept emphasizing that they have an emotional connection and it's not just physical. And I'm like, you don't need to be telling us all the time that you guys have an emotional connection.
I think they were overcompensating because they could see that their partners, especially Nick, who did mention that he felt very threatened by JR specifically, and that's who his partner chose. That he was just like, I feel like you could have gotten a richer experience if you chose someone not based off of aesthetics. And how he looks. And I think that they're needing to kind of like over justify that this is a connection. And it's just
and honestly, so JR in the decision in terms of who he was gonna go for, he was either gonna go for Ari, who we'll speak about, or Sandy. And his whole thing was like, well, I ain't never been with a white girl before, and I feel like that's why he ended up going for her.
And then there was another girl who is half Hispanic, and he was like, ooh, I even like that. And I was just like, he's really just, that just shows how shallow and superficial he is about this experiment.
And I think half the time they were trying to demonstrate to us that they're not shallow.
And that's why, friend, I really think he was there, boundaryless.
So yeah, that's JR and Sandy. Their interactions, there's like, you can feel the tension, you can cut it with a knife, eventually
100%.
they kiss. I genuinely think that they did a lot more than kissing, but
I think so too.
They're trying to keep it PG for their
100%
for their relationship. So now JR and Sandy are together. Nick, who is Sandy's partner, is losing his mind. Also because now he's been left, right?
Stalking them by the
balcony. There was a time where he came and he knocked at their like apartment, demanding to speak to Sandy. He was losing his mind.
That was just unhinged.
Yeah, it was completely unhinged. She's busy SMSing her, texting her and everything.
For someone who issued the ultimatum and, said they should go on the show.
Yeah.
He was not giving. And I think the reason why, if his partner for the trial marriage had stayed,
I don't think he would have been as fixated on them.
100%.
I agree.
100%.
He wouldn't have lost his mind the way that he did.
And he was losing his mind because he just didn't have a partner, and had to watch his original partner
essentially fall in love with someone else.
Yes.
But in the same breath, I found Nick, like, yes, definitely there were parts where he lost his mind, but I also found him to be someone who is quite in touch with his emotions and like allowed himself to be raw and just human. I think a lot of the emotions that he went through are like emotions anybody would have, seeing their partner like fall in love with somebody else. But we have the comfort of doing that in our own homes without cameras.
I'm laughing because I actually found Nick quite attractive, like in the first episode.
My sister said the same thing.
Guys, I feel like
Sandy
aged him 6 episodes in.
I don't see what you guys see.
I'm being 100% serious. Like, I feel like we need to do a comparison of Nick episode 1
versus
Sandy.
Nick. Yeah.
And he just looks like a different person from all the crying, from all the...
100%.
Also, Sandy's disrespectful. She has no respect for Nick because when Nick showed up to the apartment, she laughed.
She laughed and
she also hung up the phone when he called.
And she puts him on speaker for her and JR to laugh at him together. Imagine.
That's no respect. It's just
none. Like nothing in her mind is like, oh shame, ish, my person is losing his mind because I'm falling in love with somebody else. Let me at least like, talk to him.
She's like, JR, that's my man.
And her thing is,
and
you brought me here. Yeah. And her thing is, you the one that brought me here.
Yes.
So now you can't be out here.
I know. Yeah. Anyways.
So, that's them. Ari, Caleb.
I actually think that out of all the couples, they were the most fortunate to be matched with each other.
Agreed.
Quite a healthy dynamic. And Caleb is...
quite platonic too, though, which I think
on
takes
one
the
side.
complication. I genuinely think it was both ways.
No, I think Ari genuinely likes Caleb.
I think she likes him, but I don't think she likes him enough to like leave Scotty for him.
But she can definitely. I think Caleb is is a mirror of everything that she has seen that she was lacking in
With
Scotty.
Scotty, yeah.
But the reason why I think that she does like him is because she said that, even if this doesn't develop into something romantic, I would like to still keep in contact with him after the show, but I know Mariah might not be comfortable with that. And then Mariah, she sits at the table. All the couples are now gathered after the trial marriage, and Mariah asks her.
Oh, that was so intense.
She asks her if, like, do you have feelings for Scotty, or along the lines of, would you want to see something
For Caleb, yes.
for Caleb?
Yeah.
And she kind of
After the
evades-
show, would you want to still...
And she kind of
see him.
evades
Yeah,
the
she
answer,
did.
which tells me that she does like him more maybe than Caleb. I did find Caleb a little bit sneaky though, because she said, I mean, I do want to respect the fact that you came here with Mariah.
Yeah.
But I also want to honor what we are developing. And she then said, I do want to be honest with Mariah, because the ladies do meet up and stuff. And then Caleb said, I wouldn't tell her that we're forming an intimate connection.
Yeah, an emotional connection.
And I was like, And then she did seem a little bit disappointed.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I was like, I think she does like him, but Caleb is like, it's giving friend zone there.
It is giving friend zone. And shame your Mariah's going through the most, also because I get her person left her as well.
Yeah.
So, but I definitely think that she did a better job at
Than Nick.
Yeah, at being by herself than Nick.
Definitely. Yeah, do you know the shocker when,
Yeah.
when all the girls met up?
Yeah.
And then she said to Sandy, Nick is not
He's not
a
okay.
husband material.
He's not. I was like, ma'am.
He is not ready to be me. And I was like, clocked it, because Nick was spiraling.
Yeah, Nick was spiraling. Shame.
Spiraling.
I spiral too, though, just not on national TV.
And that's why you don't take your couple.
100%. I just
You don't do
cute.
that. You don't do that. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's Ari and Caleb. And Dana and Scotty. Woo! When I tell you, Scotty started off as like, wow, yeah, okay, black man,
I have a lot to say.
wow, gaslighter.
I have a lot to
Hey,
say
there's
about
so
Scotty.
much about. So initially, their connection started off quite well. They seem to be listening to each other. They seem to be really into each other. Then there's a scene where Scotty goes for a guys' night, right? And at this guys' night, obviously, like, all the guys who are seeing each other's women are coming together and they're chatting, like, how's it going and all of these things. Then he finds out JR says something to him.
JR confronts him basically and says that I've heard in the
Through the grapevine, yeah.
that you... What did he say?
You think I'm here just for a whole pass or something like that, like that. I'm not
Yes,
taking
that's what
this
he
seriously.
said, that I'm just here for a whole pass, like I'm not taking this seriously.
Yeah.
Scotty gets really like aggravated,
Offended,
and asks JR, who told you that? JR is not willing to reveal basically who told him that information, and Scotty just basically is livid.
Yeah.
And is pissed, and and JR also mentions that he feels like Scotty would have said that so that he could get one up on Zaina. Because he's coupled up with his original partner. And Scotty basically takes that.
Yeah.
And takes it back to the
And takes it
apartment.
home. Also, another thing that happened at this guy's night is, so you know how like previously Nick went knocking and just he's being a stalker and he's just really pissing JR and Sandy off, wanting to speak to his women. So the first thing that Nick says when he gets to this guy's night is he says to JR, listen dude, I've been spiraling. I see that my woman is falling in love with you. I'm so sorry for my behavior. Like, please accept my apology. And JR is not having any of it. He initially starts being like, oh yeah, understand, and then he just goes off. So that night, JR was just not feeling anybody. He comes for Nick. He's like, how dare you? That's just disrespectful. You're taking away from our time in our
With my
experience-
wife.
With my wife. Him calling Nick's girlfriend.
My wife.
My wife.
That is wild behavior. Like,
Yeah.
that's...
Yeah. He's basically saying to him, I'm eating your girl, and it was disrespectful because you came and interrupted me while I was eating your girl. That's what he's basically
And
saying.
I just feel like JR has completely forgotten about Zaynab.
Yeah.
Like,
He's not there. He's not there. So that's what happens at guys' night. So altercation between Nick and JR, altercation between Scotty and JR. Scotty goes home. He's angry, right? Zaina also comes back from girls' night. He says to her,
no,
he's
before he
literally-
says to
yeah.
her, he literally stands across the table.
and he's like this.
Dead steak is that not ndimxelele. And she says, I can 100% see that you're angry. Do you want to talk about it? And he's
What's
like,
wrong?
no. And then she's like, well, you're clearly angry, so what is wrong? And then he just continues to give her this death stare. And then eventually he tells
Psychopathic shit.
And then he tells her that, look, your partner said that I basically went around speaking ill of him and saying that he was just here for a whole pass. And then he basically
also spirals.
He spirals, and I don't even want to say he asks Zaina if she... Well, he initially asked Zaina if, were you the one who said
told
this?
JR,
That
yeah.
told JR this. But what is horrible is that he asks it in a very accusatory manner. And then, guys, actually, Scotty is one of those guys that are dangerous because they know all of this self-awareness language.
It's vibes.
And
know
he will
self-awareness
play with
language.
your brain.
Yeah.
They will weaponize the fact that they are conscious, man.
Yeah.
And next thing, why are you gaslighting me?
Yeah. He knows all the buzzwords. Scotty is on the social media that we are on, and he's also following the same self-help Instagram things that we are following.
And he uses it to make him seem
100%.
like he's in touch with his emotions, like he's,
100%.
like a good guy. But the more you see his dynamic with Zaina, actually, we saw that Scotty was toxic when he shouted at Ari in the initial
when they were
season,
initially getting
because
to
she was
know
crying.
each other,
Because she was crying because him and Zaina were very flirtatious and holding each other, and he was like, "Come here," and I was like,
Don't come at me.
I was like, "Ooh."
And then we ignored the red flag.
That's a flag.
Yeah.
And then now, he's so aggressive, and he's asking leading questions in a way to insinuate that she's the one who spread the rumor.
Yeah.
And he raises his voice at her, and then he has the audacity to be like, "Don't." When she starts getting angry and she raises her voice, he says, "Why are you raising
shouting?
your voice? Why are you shouting?" And I was just like,
Yeah, Scotty.
guys, he's not okay.
Scotty is sketchy
And toxic.
And he also just switches up. 1 minute he's sweet, the next minute there's a scene where he's speaking to Zaina and she's eating and he's like, "Are you eating without me?" And then he gets angry.
He got angry with the fact that she had breakfast without him. And he also got angry with her because...
He wanted to do an activity.
What is it? Cryotherapy,
Something
something about coldness. Who wants to do that?
And she was like,
and she was like, no.
And he took that as rejection.
Or a hot air balloon, and he took that as rejection.
Yeah. So Scotty, not a vibe. Zaina, absolutely stunning. Even the way in which she handles him.
Gorgeous.
She's able to be like, "I'm gonna need you to tone it all the way down."
And you can see she's dealt with a narcissist.
Yeah, you can tell that she's dealt with someone like that before.
Yeah.
So Stella, in
Stella,
terms of
Stella.
how she handles him, and yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Mariah. Guys, all I want to say about Mariah, I know she came onto the show ingathi she's ready for marriage. Girlie needs to do some self-discovery first. 100%. She may say that she is ready to get married, but you can kind of see how And I get it, she's in the same position as Nick. It's difficult to see your partner forming a bond with someone else while you don't have a partner because your partner ran away. But you can see just, you know, how she is anxiously attached to him. And Caleb is quite secure, I would say. And she's very anxiously attached to him. And I'm also I have an anxious attachment style.
Yeah.
And you can see how kind of pinned all of this on whether she gets the proposal or not.
Yeah.
And there's deep-seated, you know, issues there of abandonment. She does speak a little bit about like what happened in her childhood
and
how she grew up. And I just think that I don't think at 24 she's ready to be married, to be honest. I think there's a lot of self-discovery, self-finding to ground herself outside of, you know,
Caleb's proposal
and marriage.
I agree. Baby girl, you need therapy, not a marriage. Not right now, anyway. Stunning girl, though. But, yeah.
100%.
So those are the couples.
Catch us on the next review. We're going to be reviewing the next episodes that Netflix released. Episodes 6 to 8.
Yes.
Yeah. And looking forward to it. And on this side of things, they're now swapping and going back to their original partners for 3 weeks before the ultimatum. Awesome.
So stay tuned.